So what exactly goes into an AI like Grok? Is it a secret recipe, something worth billions of dollars? Or is it something the public actually has a right to know? Well, this isn't just some thought experiment. Right now, Elon Musk's XAI is suing the state of California to keep that very recipe a secret. And believe me, how this fight turns out could completely reshape the future of AI.
And XAI is definitely not mincing words here. In a lawsuit they filed just a few days before this new law was set to kick in, they called it a trade secrets destroying disclosure regime. I mean, wow. It's pretty clear the battle lines have been drawn.
And this is the fundamental clash, right here. On one side, you have XAI saying, look, our training data is our secret sauce. It's our competitive advantage. But on the other side, California is demanding that these AI companies open up the kimono and show everyone exactly what data they're using to build these incredibly powerful systems.
Okay, so to really get what this fight is all about, we've got to dig into the law at the center of it all. It's California's Assembly Bill 2013. Let's break down what it actually does. So this law, which is already in effect, basically forces any company with a generative AI in California to post a super detailed breakdown of the data they used to train it. And get this, it's not just for new models going forward. It applies retroactively to any AI that's been released since the beginning of 2022. And the level of detail they're asking for is just staggering. Seriously, this is not just a high-level summary. Companies have to disclose the whole shebang, the sources of their data, if it has copyrighted stuff in it, whether they used personal information, exactly how they cleaned or changed the data, even the exact time period they collected it. It is an exhaustive list. So why is California being so demanding? While the state legislature says it's all about protecting you, the consumer, the idea is, if you know the ingredients, the data, that went into the AI, you can better understand and watch out for potential biases in the final product. It really boils down to that old saying, garbage in, garbage out. But XAI's argument isn't just that this is a bad policy. Oh no, they're claiming it's flat out unconstitutional. Their lawsuit launches this really powerful three-pronged legal attack against the state, and it all starts with the Fifth Amendment. So, their first big claim is that this whole thing violates the Fifth Amendment. XAI argues that its carefully curated datasets are incredibly valuable trade secrets, which is a form of private property. For forcing them to just give this information away, they're saying the government is essentially taking their property without paying for it, which the Constitution says you just can't do. Next up, they're bringing in the First Amendment. They're arguing that the government can't force a private company to speak when it doesn't want to. So by making them publish all these specific, detailed disclosures, XAI says California is compelling them to speak in a way that directly violates their free speech rights. And finally, their third argument is that the law is just unconstitutionally vague. I mean, what exactly is a data set or a data point? The law doesn't really say. It leaves companies guessing how to even comply. XAI's position is that this violates their due process rights under the 14th Amendment because it's impossible to know what's actually being required of them. Okay, so moving past the big constitutional claims, XAI's lawsuit asks a really practical question. Who is this law actually helping? Is it the average consumer, or is it their corporate rivals? This quote from the lawsuit really gets right to the heart of their argument. XAI says a typical user isn't going to know what to do with a giant list of data sources. But you know who will? Competitors. Companies like OpenAI or Google who could use that information to basically reverse engineer their models and wipe out XAI's competitive edge. And this really gets at a key disconnect that XAI is trying to highlight. The law is obsessed with the raw inputs, the ingredients. But XAI argues that what consumers actually care about are the outputs. How well does the AI perform? Is it biased? How does it do in real-world tests? They're saying that's the kind of transparency that's actually useful to people. And this brings us to what they call the roadmap analogy. Forcing them to disclose their data, XAI says, isn't about transparency at all. It's about giving away the treasure map that shows exactly how they built their successful model, which would allow anyone else to just follow it step by step. Now, this case may be filed in California, but its implications are absolutely global. This is one of the very first major legal tests for AI transparency, and you can bet the rest of the world is watching very, very closely. I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows you how fast this is all moving. XAI starts developing its models in early 2023, way before this law was even really a thing. The law gets signed in late 2024, and then XAI files their lawsuit at the absolute last minute before it takes effect. This is a high-speed collision between innovation and regulation. And then there's the money. We can't forget about the money. The lawsuit points out that developing one of these advanced models costs hundreds of millions, sometimes even billions of dollars. When you're investing that kind of cash, your intellectual property, that secret recipe, becomes pretty much the most valuable asset you have.
And that's why this isn't just some local California issue. Regulators in Europe and all around the world are asking these exact same questions about AI training data. The decision that comes out of this case could set a really powerful precedent for how governments everywhere decide to handle AI regulation.
So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one fundamental question. Is an AI's training data a secret recipe that's essential for competition and innovation, or is it a matter of public interest, an ingredient list that we all have a right to check out for safety and fairness? This lawsuit is going to force an answer, one way or another.